Hello friends, welcome to Mushkil Ashan. I'm Jayita, clinical psychologist. And today we talk about stress in our relationships. Often, non-issues become issues when a partner is stressed in a relationship. And the stress is the perception of an event as being difficult or be taxing us. It might be something as trivial as more work. It might be more work in the office, or it might be more household chores. In this pandemic, stress has become a very common word, and we always tend to say there's so much of work and I'm feeling so stressed. And this negativity has an effect on our relationships too. Our relationships, which were absolutely fine before the pandemic, are being stressed over these few months. And relationships which were not absolutely fine are becoming very rocky over these 8.5 months or 9 months. So when you understand that your relationship is stressed, when you've stopped communicating with each other, and every time you start communicating, it turns into a fight. Little issues become very big. It's not as if something big has happened, but little things, unimportant things which you could ignore earlier cannot be ignored now and becomes big problems. You do not have time for each other. You prefer not to talk to each other. You do not feel very affectionate towards each other. You start avoiding each other. You take out your stress on the other partner. That is, in our psychological terms, we call it displacement. You're angry on your boss, but you cannot say that to your boss. So what happens? You turn angry on your spouse. You turn bitter towards your partner. And you do not identify that this leads to a problem. Your partner is not there as the scapegoat for all your problems. You have to recognize what is the issue and deal with the issue instead of making the partner a scapegoat. Often there are people with personality disorders or otherwise who cannot see their own problems. It's always the other person's fault for them. Whatever is happening in their life, they won't be taking accountability for it. They will blame it on external circumstances, on their parents, on their partners, on their colleagues, on the other person. But it is never their fault. It is always the other person's fault. So whatever happens in their relationship, they tend to tell that is always the other person's fault. It is never their fault. So if you're into such a kind of a relationship, or where your partner says it's always your fault, you need to talk it out. And in certain cases, when you're unable to deal with your partner regarding this, it is better to take professional help. Each and every couple have their share of problems, their share of ups and downs, but that doesn't mean that everybody has to rush to the clinical psychologist or the psychologist to do premarital counseling or marital counseling. We are not saying that, but yes, when the issues are becoming such a major thing that the relationship is suffering, it's time that you took some professional help. A client of mine once told me that what is it that you're saying is different from what my parents say or others say? You're saying the same thing. Then why am I paying you for the session? So this particular lady could find no fault in her behavior, and it was always the other person's fault. So her parents have also told her the same thing. Her partner had told her the same thing. And while discussing her problems in the sessions gradually, when her thoughts were analyzed and she was asked the way to think differently, to interpret differently, to give different meanings, she resisted in the session. So it's not as if you come to psychotherapy session and all your problems are solved in one session or 2 sessions or 3 sessions. Psychotherapy is a long process, it takes time. We as clinicians can only guide you, can suggest you the path, but whether you follow that path or not depends on you. If you follow the path, obviously you'll see results. If you do not follow the path, or if you don't want to go for the psychotherapy sessions, your clinician cannot help you. And it's absolutely fine if you do not gel with your first therapist, because finding a therapist is also a very big issue with whom rapport can be established. If you are not compatible with your therapist, change your therapy, but don't give up on therapy. But if the same thing is being repeatedly said by different therapists, then it's time that you give it yourself some time and think about it. Because often when people are challenged about their thoughts, when things are pointed to them, they change their therapist and go to another person. And like this, they end up visiting a lot of therapists but without any improvement. So it's about time they introspect and find out what is wrong with them, rather than changing the therapist every time they get a problem in the therapy session. So when it comes to deal with stress in a relationship, you have to accept that you cannot make your partner a scapegoat, and you have to give some time to your partner and discuss the issues without confronting or without playing the silent game. Your words should be chosen with clarity. If your words are very aggressive, you'll be doing more harm to the relationship than good. And along with your words, your body language is also very important. Sometimes I know people saying my things, but in such a sarcastic tone that the discussion is more harmful than being of any help to either of them. So choose your words correctly. Have a control over your body language, over your facial expressions. Sometimes one's body language becomes so very aggressive that the discussion becomes futile. So when you talk to each other, talk to your partner the way you would want your partner to talk to you. If you talk to him or her in that manner, this will calm the situation and you might be able to solve the problem together without taking any professional help. Give each other more time, like you're expecting that person to do certain things. So at the very first go, don't tell that person to do everything. Maybe if he wants to do 20% of the stuff or 30% of the stuff, agree to that. Rather than saying that no, you have to do the entire thing or else it doesn't work out this way, realize that he will be unable to do the 100%. Give him or her more time. Let him do the 20 and 30%, and when he's able to do that 20 or 30%, appreciate that and gradually increase the responsibility or the workload. So communication is the foremost important thing in a stressed relationship. Open up, communicate, decrease your expectations from your partner. I guess it would help in your relationship. If you like this video, do share it with your friends. If you're new to this channel, do not forget to subscribe. Stay well and take care.